The way we consume and share news today, it is largely rooted in social media outlets, a reason why it's crucial to look at what's being discussed online. For the hottest issues and trends, our social media minute, we're joined by Erica from Rome. Good morning.
Good morning.
That'll just never get old, just the fact that I'm connecting with you, like all the way over in
Yeah.
Italia.
It's going to be my last day actually reporting, connecting from Rome. So, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Are
Time
you coming?
flies when you're having fun.
You mean when you're on social media minute, right?
Yeah, of course.
All right. Let's jump into some of these buzzwords this morning. KakaoTalk made an announcement that turned out to be more divisive than I'd imagined. I didn't realize that we were using so much of these free character emojis, but
Yeah.
I believe this was released at the inception of the Messenger service and it survived the test of time. But they're saying out with the old.
Yes, that's right. Out with the old, in with the new. Not really, but we'll get to that in a bit. So, the story is that Kakao Friends emojis will be gradually discontinued on South Korea's number one messaging app, KakaoTalk. Now, the company recently announced its decision to end all free Kakao Friends emoji services. Now, these emojis are 34 non-moving images that show various expressions by the five initial characters of Kakao Friends. You know, these emojis since 2012 have received a lot of love from users of all ages. And they have been particularly instrumental in enhancing user engagement and adding an element of fun during the app's initial growth phase.
Okay, so how about the Kakao Friends emoticons? It's supposed to be differentiated from emojis. The emoticons are the moving images are
That's
offered
right.
free of charge, or sometimes you can buy some too, right?
Yeah, that's right. So the emoticons, the moving emoticons, they will not be affected. We're talking about the ones that don't move, that were introduced in 2011, 2012. Now, KakaoTalk is streamlining its emoji services in its latest 10.5.0 version update. And what that means, it is significantly reducing the number of default emojis from 116 to just 34 with an eventual plan to phase them out completely.
Okay, so this is where it gets kind of interesting. How have people responded to the announcement?
The decision has sparked a range of reactions from users of all ages, but I think most of them have expressed sadness at losing what they consider to be a valuable feature of the messaging service. Our producer was one of them. She says, "Oh, this is going to be a bit of a problem for me." And I'm like, "Really?" And she's like, "Yeah, I use them a lot, actually." Now, these emojis have been a core part of the Kakao Talk experience since the app's debut, and they have served as an effective means of expressing a wide range of emotions.
Remember, there was a time long before emojis and emoticons, we had to use punctuation to create our own
Oh,
smiley
yeah.
faces. And the conversation then was, is it professional to bring in smiley faces in like a professional setting, for example? We have group
Right.
chats with our work friends and colleagues, but I think we've come a long way since then. Even it seems different generations, it's just a matter of preference. Sometimes
Yeah.
prefer to add a little bit of the free emojis to get their emotions across more accurately. Like, I'm not too serious
Yeah.
here.
A lot of people actually use these these free emojis on Kakao Talk to communicate or when communicating with their colleagues or people at work because they find that the more elaborate moving emoticons are a little bit too much. Yeah. But anyways, from the company's perspective, the move to discontinue these free emojis There's a reason. It's aimed at improving the overall user experience. That's what they say, but I'm not exactly sure what that means, improving the overall user experience, because a lot of people say that they're sad to see these basic emojis go, you
Mm,
know?
mm.
A spokesperson from Kakao said that the decision to revamp was made with a long-term vision to offer enhanced user experience. And also, there are no plans yet to introduce new emojis or similar free features.
Any tech company has to pivot, but you're right. That enhanced user experience better come fast, and it better come with some clever
Yeah,
ideas because it seems that there's enough people out there who are just sad to see the free emojis go.
that's right.
Okay, let's move on to our second buzzword of the day. This is not too long ago. I want to say like in the last like 10 or maybe even 20 years, we decided if you had the luxury, having a second home in Jeju might be nice, or that might
Yep.
be the affordable option. I'll rent in Seoul and have a home in Jeju. And it was driven by I gotta say, pop culture did help a little bit give a boost, and more people were.
Like Ihori, for example.
Yeah, I didn't want to name drop, but that's like the most obvious one that comes to mind. But times have
Right.
changed. Apparently, living on Jeju Island has become expensive, and infrastructure strain is easily noticeable. And there's a net outflow of residents leaving the island.
That's right. So Jeju Island right now is witnessing a significant reversal in its population trend for the first time in 14 years. So this change signals a sort of cooling off of the whole Jeju allure that had been drawing people from many parts of South Korea for over a decade now.
Okay, you're right. There was a Jeju allure because it's an island. It doesn't feel like Korea. There's palm trees for crying out
Yeah.
loud. The food is different. The culture is different. But there is a significant reversal of that trend. So, what do recent stats actually tell us?
Yeah, so the recent stats show us that more people are moving away from Jeju Island than arriving on the island. So those who are moving out of the island are relocating to major metropolitan areas like Seoul, Gyeonggi-do province, and Incheon even. Now, this net outflow amounted to 1,687 individuals last year.
Okay, the big question is why, right? Let's talk about the reasons for the trend reversal.
Yeah, so according to a recent report by the Bank of Korea, there are several reasons actually for this reversal in trends. So, number one is the surge in housing prices, real estate prices, together with deteriorating living conditions. By that, I mean worsening traffic conditions, parking issues, job scarcity, challenging work environments, high living expenses, things like that. All of these are being pinpointed as the main culprits. Insufficient infrastructure when it comes to culture and education are also factors that are driving people out of the island. Now, the allure of this so-called Jeju-do living reached its peak in 2016, but that allure has been gradually fading in recent years. The young population especially are choosing to move to other parts of South Korea for better job opportunities and better living conditions.
The promise of the island life was supposed to be easier for you to seek inner
Yeah,
peace, beach breeze greeting you in
right.
your early morning runs, food being readily accessible, but that's just so far removed from the truth, isn't it? Of course,
Yeah.
these beauties exist, but if you decide to stay long term, and if there is an influx of people, it starts to look a little bit too much like the metropolitan cities without the
Yeah.
promises of a metropolitan city now.
You know, Jeju-do faces several challenges, not just for the people who had moved to the island in
Yeah.
recent years to live there, but also in the tourism sector as well. Things have gotten very, very expensive on the island, which has sort of, forced people to choose other parts of South Korea to travel to. For example, I mean, Jeju-do used to once be the number one travel destination here in South Korea, and that is no more. People are traveling to other destinations like Busan, for example.
And Gangwon-do is
Because,
plenty.
yeah,
And the thing
that's
is,
right.
it's a bit of an existential crisis, is it not? Not just for those who were once living there, but, what makes it attractive for tourists, locals and foreigners alike? And there are factors there, but you're right. Everything had become expensive. And for example, the yen was so cheap for months and months. There was this ongoing discussion amongst locals saying, hey, if it's going to cost me that much anyway to go to Jeju Island, how about Tokyo? How about Osaka?
Right.
And so maybe it needs to get back its competitive edge, whatever it may be. Sharpen those tools. All right, let's leave it there for now so we can move on to this rather divisive conversation topic. So the social media is kind of a dumping ground for this is my problem, help me. And sometimes the conversations are pretty engaging and fun. So this one woman decides that she end an engagement over her fiance's rather questionable spending habits. First, let's give us the details.
Yeah, so in a rather revealing social media post, a woman in her 30s shared her decision to end her engagement, and she has attributed the breakup to her fiance and his family's questionable spending habits. The story was shared on social media, and the post was titled, "Was I too harsh in calling off the engagement?" This post has since garnered a significant number of views
I've got to say,
and comments.
whoever this woman is, like, she's really good at generating clickbait because that's a really good title. Was I too harsh in calling off the engagement? Suddenly, I'm a little bit invested. So the details of the story, I mean, what sort of troubles was she having with her ex-fiance?
Yeah, so she had been with this man for 2 years, right? And she said during their relationship, she often felt uncomfortable about her partner's spending behavior. For example, she described how her fiance would intentionally leave hotel rooms very, very messy under the guise that cleaning fees are included in the room charges to get the most out of it, basically, he was saying, right? And the more expensive the hotel they were staying at, the messier he would leave the room. Now, this kind of pattern wasn't confined to just hotels. Even at home, he would intentionally dirty the house, his own house, to get his money's worth from housekeeping services.
No.
I know it's weird. It's not normal. Now, the tipping point for the woman came during a family dinner. They were eating at this high-end Korean restaurant. It was around 80,000 won per person. Her then-to-be mother-in-law, well, or his mother, asked the waiter to get her refills of complimentary banchan or side dishes. And, the waiter would bring the side dishes and she wouldn't even touch them, right? And she would say, "This is how you get your money's worth at expensive places." And, she became growingly frustrated by their behavior, and she eventually chose to break off the relationship.
I'm not a psychiatrist, but I know when something looks broken, it's a gut feeling. And I think the general consensus around this story is good job. You left the potential marriage at the right time because those are just, I think, nasty and mean habits, don't you think? I mean, it's one, wasteful to ask for all these banchan that you're not going to eat. You're not getting
That's
your
right.
money's worth because you didn't put it in your stomach. It would have been
Right.
different if you tried to pull off like a Ross Geller from Friends and like stuff that banchan into your takeaway bag, but that's not it. And I understand hotels are notoriously expensive, and sometimes you begin to wonder, what am I paying for? You want to get the money's worth. You ask for more amenities, but these are all within, I think, reason. And then this is just mean and rude.
Right, exactly. I mean, you know what? I like to keep my hotel room clean because it makes me happy, right?
Yes, it
I'm
does.
the one sleeping in it.
I have to sleep in the mess. I don't
Yep.
care much for that. And dirtying up my home, like, are you kidding? I make such a great deal of effort to keep it clean. Why would I? Okay. All right. That's besides the point. But to maybe this the ex mother-in-law and the ex fiance, this is just a way of life. So I'm wondering how her former fiance responded to this.
The man had apparently shot back at her. He accused her of acting all high and mighty. Well, that's what she said, shared on social media. And many users on social media have chimed in with mixed reactions, but most people, like you said, commended her decision to leave what they deemed a family with a strange mindset.
It's values. I think that's a deal breaker, and
Yes,
that's not even close to what this woman wants. So good
I
job. Good
know.
job.
Yeah, same. I agree. Good job.
Thanks, Yerka. Have a safe trip back home. We'll see you next week.
Bye. Have a good weekend.
If you're listening to our program using the podcast service, just a reminder that we do go live Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. Korea Standard Time. So tune in and help us make the show more informative by giving us your input. See you bright and early on Good Morning Seoul.